What is the man to you boys coming through once again? And on today's video, I'm gonna talk about when was the time I decided to actually change the way of living and seek something better of my life. See, for those who know about change, you understand that it doesn't come like that. It comes like in phases, if you know what I mean. But if you don't, I'm gonna explain to you what is the process, what was my process, and what I did to make those changes in my life in prison, right? So before we continue with this video, man, do not forget to hit the like and comment. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, man, hit the subscribe button real quick. It doesn't take nothing from you. And at the end of the day, you just helping my channel, which I do highly appreciate, man. For those who've been supporting my channel, muchas gracias. Gracias for the opportunity. Los subscribers también se les agradece. Y let's get to the story, right? A lot of people you've seen, they talk about the change. Sometimes they don't change. Sometimes they touch the surface. And actually, I believe in order for you to be like, you know what, I need to change, you have to hit rock bottom and be at a spot when you're like, man, there's no way out of here. Like, what am I doing? I keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over, still expecting a different result, right? But it's the same one, right? It does not make sense. Insanity. So I told you guys that it came to a point in my life when I was like, you know what, I have to have something better for myself. Let me just take advantage of this situation and concentrate on myself, because I done messed up already. Let me at least try to take back my life and guide it through a better path. And for a minute, it was working, right? But eventually, you fall back into your old habits. You fall back into your criminal thinking, and where you're trying to make money, you're busting moves, you're making deals, you are involved in things, of course, not in gangs, because you know more than that. You know what is better. You know that is basically doing something for a next person instead of doing it for yourself. It's a whole different perspective that I never agree with. But for those who understand change, there's gonna be a breaking point on your life that something's gonna click. Something's gonna be like, you know what? There's something going on with my life. This pivot point, breaking point, whatever. And that's when you understand, okay, I have to change, or I'm gonna seek a different path in my life, right? But this does not mean that you change, right? Because you're still holding your old habits, or if you're not using them right there, they're gonna come out eventually, right? Then as time passes by, your little mind just comes out. Let me do this, get some money, get involved in this. And that's why I tell you guys, a lot of people say they ain't changed, but they haven't actually put in the work to understand themselves and understand what they want in life and what's important, and be secure of themselves to actually change, right? Because for change, you have to understand who you are as a person and what do you want in life. You have to understand that maybe your way of thinking is not the same way of my thinking, right? And you have to accept that. You have to be like, you know what, hey man, I have to respect that, but at the end of the day, I have to look up for me, to see what is best for me. So as I was messing up in prison, after I said I was gonna change, right, I was like, man, this is not the way. Let me do this. And after a few years, I went back to my old habits, criminal thinking. I found myself in the hole. Looking at 4 years with 80%. Not only that, looking at 6 months on top of my good time credit, right? Because they did the 115s kind of crazy. They were trying to get me big time, So I was looking at doing at 4 years, 4 years and some extra, right? On top of my sentence, right? That's on top of my sentence, And at that point, as I'm on the whole, I'm like, man, I attempted to sell this. I went through different ways of hiding it. Every time, man, it went through. It slid through for a minute, But eventually, it didn't work out. I got caught with it. So instead of selling, say, alcohol, I was like, you know what? Let me do something more smaller. Something that I can hide. Let me sell dope, right? Easy to hide, easy to move, nice. But again, it led me back to getting in trouble. Getting 115s, going to the hole, and be like, man, what am I doing? At that moment, I did understand that whatever I was doing, it was very wrong, because everything that was happening, it was affecting me in a negative way, right? I was catching more time. I didn't know what to do. I was at the point where I was like, you know what? Screw it, man. Like, I'm catching so much time that screw it. And it's this time, that's when they passed that law, the youth offender law. And I was like, you know what? If I really want to get out of this place, I have to change everything, every single thing in my thinking. This was my turning point, Not the moment that I realized that I needed to change, because that happened a long time ago. But actually, when I put in the effort to be like, you know what, enough is enough. Let me strip everything out of me. Let me just go for, put my trust on the programs, put my trust on myself, that I'm capable of accomplishing things in prison, and let's see how it goes. And I went with it, Because of this, I changed the people I talked to, separated myself slowly. I start hanging around different people on certain groups. And when I say groups, about self-help groups, not groups out there on the yard. On the yard, I'm at my job, talk to my cellie, work out. That's all I have to do, right? But I was involved in groups in where people were offering their knowledge, their experiences, and what worked with them or for them. And I was able to take this information, put it into action with myself, and push myself to actually change. There's no perfection. If you search for that, it's no ending battle, right? No perfection. But we can always improve once we recognize a bad decision, a mistake, whatever you want to call it. You can always improve. The only thing is recognizing these events, and not everybody is man enough to recognize those events, And that's something I want to share with you guys, because change is possible. All you have to do is search for it, look for it, and put in the work, So with this being it, we are out to next video. Muchas gracias. I highly appreciate every single one of you. To next video. Gracias.